everybody, and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm making apple crumble cake. So this is going to be a layer of cake with a layer of apple and then crumble on the top. And I'm going to do it in a 9-inch, 23cm square cake tin. It can then be cut into squares or bars, or it can be cut to serve as a dessert with custard or something like that. It's actually quite simple to make, but it takes a bit of time because there are the 3 different layers. I start off by preheating my oven to 180 Celsius, that's 350 Fahrenheit, and I have greased and lined a 9-inch, 23cm cake tin, and I've left the paper to go up the top just for ease of taking the cake out of the tin later, really. So I'll go on to the ingredients, and for the crumble mixture I have 125 grams, which is 1 cup plus 2.5 tablespoons of plain flour, and that's based on scooping packed flour into a 250 milliliter cup. I have 3 grams, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 50 grams, 3 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of unsalted butter, which is cold. You could use salted butter. I have 125 grams, half a cup plus 2 tablespoons of demerara sugar. If you don't have demerara sugar, you could use granulated sugar, but demerara sugar or a raw cane sugar is best because it retains the texture a little bit better. And I have 50 grams, half a cup of chopped hazelnuts. And then for the cake, I have 250 grams, which is 1 2/3 cups of plain flour, again based on scooping packed flour into a 250 milliliter cup. I have 8 grams, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I have 125 grams, 1 stick plus 2 teaspoons of unsalted butter. I have 150 grams, 3/4 of a cup of caster sugar. I have 5 milliliters, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract or vanilla bean paste. I have 150 milliliters, half a cup plus 2 tablespoons of milk. And I have 2 medium eggs and 1 medium egg yolk, and that would be large in the USA. So in the USA, 2 large eggs and 1 large egg yolk. And then for the apple layer, I've simply peeled and sliced quite thinly about 5 apples. You can add slightly more if you want, but I think 5 will be good enough for the size of my pan. So the first thing I'm going to do is to, and I should say that with the apples, I've got them sitting in the juice from 1 lemon. I tossed them in the lemon juice to stop them from browning after I peeled them. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make the crumble. And that's quite straightforward, but I'm going to use my processor bowl of my immersion blender to get things started, because we have to rub the butter into the flour and cinnamon. So I'm putting the flour and the cinnamon into the processor, and I'll just give that a quick blitz to get that mixed in a little bit. And that's good enough. And then I'm going to add in my 50 grams of butter, which I've cubed, and I'm going to just mix that around to get it coated in the dry ingredients a little bit, and then I'm going to pulse that until it all resembles fine breadcrumbs. And that's good enough like that. That's all that takes. So I'm then going to put that into another bowl. And with the butter, flour and cinnamon in that bowl there, I'm going to add in my demerara sugar and my chopped hazelnuts, which have been roasted. I can buy roasted chopped hazelnuts in the shop, so that's what I tend to do. And I'm simply going to stir those around to get them mixed together. And that's all I have to do with the crumble mixture. So I'm going to set that in the fridge just while I work on the cake mixture. So I'm going to put the butter into the bowl of my stand mixer, and I'm going to add the sugar in as well. And I'm going to cream those together until they're nice and fluffy, and as that happens I'm also going to add my vanilla extract. So that's creamed together quite nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my eggs into my milk and the egg yolk, the additional egg yolk, and I'm going to whisk those together to break up the eggs. So I now have that mixed in like that. And then I'm going to put my baking powder into my flour, and I'm going to give that a good stir around with a whisk as well to get that mixed in. You could sift it in if you wanted to, but I think a whisk will work for that. So that's now combined as well. And then what I'm going to do is, a little at a time, I'm going to pour in the egg mixture, a little of the egg mixture, and then a little of the flour, and then the egg mixture, and then the flour, until I have them all combined. So I'm going to put the mixer on a low speed. I've added some egg, and now I'm going to add some flour. And a little more. And that's nicely mixed together and all incorporated. So the next thing to do is to put that into the cake tin. So I'm going to scoop the batter into the cake tin, and then I'm going to spread it around to level it off. So if I give that a bit of a shake, it will start to level it. And I can then just spread that into the corners. And that's quite good like that. So then the next thing to do is to put the apple on. Now I've chopped my apple. I have different sized pieces because I chopped it very quickly and roughly, but quite thinly. So I'm going to place it overlapping the pieces as necessary, all over the surface. So I've put my apple on, and I've actually put some more on the top that I had left over. And what I'm going to do then is I'm simply going to sprinkle my crumble mixture over the top. Like that. And I'm going to put that into the oven, and I'm going to bake it for an hour, and I will check it and I'll turn it round in the oven if I need to, but I'll bake it until I can test it with a skewer and the cake is cooked at the bottom. Then I'll take it out of the oven and allow it to cool down completely before I take it out of the cake tin. Then I'll come back and show you the results. I baked the apple crumble cake for an hour, and I tested it with a skewer, which came out clean. So I took it out of the oven and I allowed it to cool down in the tin for quite a while before I transferred it to a wire rack. And I've cut it into several pieces. I've given half away, and I've kept the other half for myself. So this is what it looks like. And I have just a little square here, which is a good sized portion. This is the amount that I would use if I was going to serve it with some custard and have it as a dessert. So I'll have a taste of it. The cake is lovely and soft, and the topping has a bit of a crunch to it, and I can get the cinnamon flavour coming through on that as well. And then there's the softness of the apple inside as well. So it's very, very good, and it's very simple to make, as you can see in the video. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.